What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of CarBiz Leaders Live featuring the principal's office. I have an extremely special guest today who has done me a major favor. Today is our lucky day. I'm all into numbers, so it's 222 and 2204 or 2224. But anyway, lots of twos. So, meanwhile, back at the ranch, my guest today is amazing. This guy has runs one of the most successful dealerships here in Michigan, and he has been a good friend of mine for a long time, and somebody that I think is going to bring a lot of value today. He's just a champ, and you're just going to absolutely love him. So Ben Brown from Serra, Whalen Chevrolet in Sterling Heights is coming to drop the knowledge bombs on you guys today. And I know that we are going to have the most epic show. So I hope that you enjoy. And let's get ready for another episode of the Principal's Office, where I like to say this is the only principal's office where you'd like to come to. So without further ado, let's get this party started. Now let's welcome my friend Ben Brown to the stage. Ben, how are you today?
Rachel, what's going on? How's business for you?
Business is going good. Thank God.
2024, here we are.
I know it's an exciting time. I feel like this is going to be our year, to really pop off. We have a lot of exciting things happening here. So if you wouldn't mind just telling everybody who you are. I know I give you a little intro, but and just explain to everybody like how awesome you are and all that fun stuff.
Well, I don't know that I'm very awesome, but I appreciate the accolades that you've provided already. My name is Ben Brown. Been in the car dealership world for 22, going on 23 years. Run one of the largest Chevy stores in the country. Last year, we were dethroned, so to speak, and we ended up getting third from being first the previous year. And here in Sterling Heights, Michigan, Motor City, of course. The nice thing about this dealership is, not only location, but I think the overall employee market and the ability that we've had over the years to really cement ourselves, so to speak, in making sure customer satisfaction is our number one importance. And then over and over and over repeating that proven practice by making sure those people come back to us with retention and the thought in mind that we have a mutual relationship. So it goes 50-50 on both sides, us and them. And if we can relay that to them and bridge the gap for any issues that we have over time, because nothing's perfect, we do very good at it. So it's fun. Let's just say it that way.
Well, I would just have to say that a lot of people tout that they're like number one in their market, but you were number one in the country. Okay. So big time. I wanted to know what you guys are doing to get back on top. I think sometimes, and what's the push for that?
I can't really tell you our hidden secrets, but there's always something going on. I think big thing for us in 2024 is going to be retention. How we can handle our customers that are coming back now that the open market is better from a volume standpoint in terms of vehicles on the lot. So for us, being able to not only maintain our customers, but over the time frame with COVID, I think a lot of people forget that it used to be 1.4 to 1.6 on average lots that people were visiting because of the amount of vehicles that
Mhm.
were out there. And as those diminished and it became harder to get a vehicle, people started researching and going to 6 to 7 to 8 different places, incorporating with online buying and
Mhm.
different situations. So we got to reel it back in and understand that our people have seen different places, what they've done, how they've interacted with those. So we've allowed people in our backyard, and we've got to make sure that we retain our friends and family and keep it going so that they don't presumably go somewhere else. And
Right.
that's always a situation, I think, with every dealership, but that's our key focus. Is we have a big customer base, and making sure that we maintain that is hugely important.
Absolutely. So a lot of focus on the customer. What are some of the things that you guys do to set yourselves apart from any other Chevrolet dealership? I mean, you guys are in a good location, but at the same time, there is a je ne sais quoi. So what are you doing to keep your customers happy?
First and foremost, I think it's being relatable.
Mhm.
For me, my customers are people that work here with us. So making sure that they have a good understanding of what our expectations are, providing that unique experience for every customer that walks in the door. Treat them like they're the only person that's in the room, and you need to give your undivided attention. Make sure to maintain that relationship, and building over time is. I think from a car dealership standpoint, we forget that we should be the people that they want to call, and
Mhm.
when they have questions or not, if we have the brand, awesome. If we don't, how can we help segue that maybe commitment for them to purchase, plus influence them not to buy it? But
Mhm.
make sure that we give them our appeal for what makes sense to them. I mean, and that's what we can't be bashful about. Is I think everybody gets scared because they're in a selling mentality, and really selling is just about people trusting and listening to you. And when they start to do those things, they start to love you. And if they love you, then truly that relationship over time continues to build. And as long as you have that relationship in mind, no matter what, and you're transparent and trustworthy, people are always going to come back.
I love that. Now, have you so I've had customers follow me through different companies, and over the years, I've had them for a long time. What with the relationship, right? Um, how important is it for your employees to have that kind of relationship, and how do you foster that, with your employees? Because I think that is so important. A lot of people come in, buy the car, they may not need another car for 4 to 10 years. So how do you maintain that over time?
I think the best way is to one. I was told a long time ago by my mentor, Mike Williams, a fish rots from the head. So for me, what that means is that my personality and everything that I bring to the table every single day, which I know I have to earn it, but I have to radiate that type of mentality to everybody that's around me. It doesn't mean that I can't have bad days and be real with them, but that
Mhm.
understanding and that ability to be jovial, have a friendship mindset, and then really give them autonomy. I think if you're a great leader, it's not about what people can do when you're here, it's about what people do when you're not around.
Right.
And as long as they consistently have that maintained focus and that thought process when I'm not here as well, I mean, it continues to escalate our availability and customer satisfaction. But for us, probably the biggest portion is the autonomy that we provide our sales staff and our service staff, for that matter, to make sure that they're putting the customer first. So
Right.
being able to look at that on a individual basis, make those decisions in real time with somebody, and then make sure that they're not held back, because time is a huge asset that everybody can never get back for anything. So
Mhm.
if we keep those things in mind, we're always going to be top of mind awareness, and give them a satisfactory experience, and even more so, as I like to say, unique.
Yeah, I mean, there has been times when, I've time is of the essence, and I think that's what sets, the successful dealers apart. Making sure that your salespeople can act quickly, for those people that, for me, like, if I wanna go in and buy a car, I'm like, "Alright, I want this one, I already know what I want. Let's get the paperwork taken care of. I don't wanna, I don't need to sit down and, you know, go over so much stuff. Like, I'm like, I want an in and out experience. Okay. Time is money.
Absolutely. And it's crazy to think, especially this day and age, and you'd think that COVID would have taught us, if anything, I'm a big skepticist on the thought of digital retailing and how it
Mhm,
pertains to the customer wanting everything to be done at home. And the
mhm,
reason I say that is not because I don't think that it's needed. It's because I think that we diminish the value of people,
mhm.
and that understanding with people is as some people, not all, but there's people out there that still like to have that two-way communication and in-person reassurance and understanding. And that's why I think I mentioned earlier about that trust and transparency factor is if
Mhm.
you allow everybody to have trust, like the trust that I filter down to everybody else is I'm going to give you all my trust until I shouldn't, right? And when you put me in that position, you're also harming yourself or your customers in that scenario because you're not giving them the positive outlook that they need. So when you have that trust and that availability, the transaction, I mean, that piece of it is super easy. And if for
Mhm.
us, I mean, we even have some sales associates here that can get people in and out of here in less than 20 minutes. I
Yeah,
mean,
and
so
I think that's huge today because I don't, maybe it's Amazon's fault because, packages arrive within 2 hours these days,
right,
but
we're
it's
immediate gratification types.
we
We just
are
want it
a
now.
society of immediate gratification, and I do love what you said about the people aspect. I really do feel that, and that's essential to my business too, right? Like, we want people that are knowledgeable, that can answer questions, that know how to solve problems, that can solve the problem on the spot without having to go to a manager or speak to a supervisor. I definitely believe in that wholeheartedly. I think that's great advice. Let us talk about our mutual mentor, Kobe Bryant. Okay, I need to talk about
Uh-oh,
this.
you
I
see the
see your
background?
sign. I see your sign in the background. I don't think you know that my heart belongs to Kobe. I just bought like a whole bunch of the Nike shoes, his shoes that just came out.
Oh yeah.
We're like on search. We're like, we're gonna give them away as gifts. But um, what aspect of the Mamba mentality do you kind of incorporate into your business? I want to hear about it.
I would tell you, it's unwilling or unrelentlessly uh, pushing that attention to detail for success,
Mhm,
and understanding that the little things. It's not about being the best in the sense of I need everybody to know it. It's
mhm,
we need to be the best and the hardest worker in the room regardless.
right,
And if we have that work mentality, no matter what, there's always somebody that could be up and coming. There's always somebody that has a great opportunity that could usurp us. Um, every single day, we need to understand that we need to earn it and we need to put in that work in order to earn it. And I think that was the great thing about Kobe is that,
mhm,
and honestly, I think probably the better thing is after he passed, God rest his soul,
mhm,
is that I think that was one of the things that made me admire him more is knowing after he left the court, the time frame that he spent with his daughters,
mhm,
being dedicated while off the court to being such a fantastic father, being a father myself,
mhm,
and the love and effort that he put into his little girls and his family.
mhm,
He had his hiccups, he had his hurdles. We all know that.
mhm.
But overall, I think that it showed a different desire with the same work mentality that most people forget that they have to do. Everybody wants to get rich quick. They just want it now, but they don't understand the work that it took in order to get to that point. And I think that that's what all of us need to be humbled about and
Mhm.
understand as we do it on a daily basis is we're not going to have immediate results. It's about the long-term game plan.
Yeah, and I first of all love that portion because honestly, there's so many things with attention to detail. I mean, he got down to like how he tied his shoelace, and I
Right.
think if you can think about some of the details in
He would know some of the plays that were going to be called just based situationally on the
Mhm.
game, right? I think I remember him in the Olympics, and I think it was Paul Gasol, who
Mhm.
was a teammate of his,
Yeah.
and they're playing against him, and he says to the bench, and the stories, he says, "I know exactly what play. I'm going to go over there and I'm going to knock him down." And he goes running across the court and just gives him the hardest pick that anybody's ever seen. And Paul Gasol is he's a much bigger guy than Kobe Bryant. And
Yeah.
Paul Gasol doesn't see the blind pick. and just falls to the ground. And he just looks and he's like, what? And Kobe and him are teammates at the time, right?
Yeah.
And so when you see that from the Lakers aspect and being teammates, and what he said is, hey, at this point in time, I'm not your teammate. I'm on the USA team. You're on the opposite team, right? And we're going to win
Yeah.
at all costs. So I
Yeah.
love you to death outside of this game, but within this game, we're competitors and we're going
Right.
against each other. And I'm going to win at whatever it takes, or I'm going to do whatever it takes to make sure that we win.
I think that's so important too. And when you apply that to business, just the practice, the work, the attention to detail, everything that goes into it. So, I'm always telling my team, like, if we got to play it like a sport, and we're going to play to win. But you don't even know. I'm so obsessed. Him and Tiger Woods, I'm obsessed. Okay.
Well, those
I
are
love,
two
I
great
love
ones.
golf and I love Kobe. They're my guys. Um, so speaking of which, we talked about your daughter, you talked about your family, how you are running a show, you're running a big show. Okay. So how do you, because there's a lot of people out there that want to create the time for their family. I know I've talked to a couple people even on this show that are just like, a little bit guilty. Sometimes I'm guilty, but how do you set aside that time with your family to make a big impact on them so your personal life doesn't suffer?
For me, I think one of the big things is trying to put electronics away.
Hmm.
I think we get caught up just in the moment and we're not present. And I'm really big in detail of living today in today. And I
Hmm.
know we have to forecast from a business standpoint, even family, we have to see what's going to be next for them in their grades, right?
Hmm.
Whatever thing as they're growing up to be young adults, and trying to put our best foot forward to teach them the things that made us either successful at something or happened to
Hmm.
make us fail at something and we learned from it. So I think putting your phone down, putting electronics away, and really having time frames. I'm a little bit more traditional for at least dinner. I try to have dinner at the kitchen table, right?
Hmm.
Try to have that structure. Let's talk about one thing that is good that's going on within our lives, and let's
Hmm.
share that with each other. That way we can kind of talk about some of those positives. And then, as my daughter likes to say, she's like, "What's your rose and what's your thorn?" So for
That's
her,
so
what's
cute.
yeah, what's the good thing going on, and then what's the tough thing that you have going on, and then be open about the opinions, because everything that they see, and although they're still a work in progress, is they kids are so intelligent because they're not scared to ask why.
Hmm.
And that's the one thing that we should always take from them, is that we get too prideful as adults and we put everything to the side and we want to actually figure it out ourselves. Well, it's very much okay to try to figure it out yourself, but also don't be too prideful to ask for help. And I think kids are more than willing to give you sometimes funny examples, which is amazing. But also it's always heartfelt. And I think that that's the biggest thing, is that it comes down to the emotional value and how they keep you grounded for
Yeah.
what you can do on a daily basis. And it just pushes you, or at least it pushes me, with the family aspect for what we have going on, to be better, because I want to be better for them and I want them to be proud.
I'm always throwing my son my do my Instagram for me,
Right.
you know, but I do, when we do put the technology down, and I think that's so important, is just to get in their face and let them know that you care. We, all over the national news, we're seeing terrible things happen, right in our backyard in Michigan, right, with the Crumbly case, and just making sure that, like, you are in your kid's face, and not, and letting them know that you care and that they're supported, and that they can come to you. So I just absolutely love that, because it's so important. So great advice there, Ben.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't
Let's,
know that I got the world's problems figured out, but I'll sure try to take them on one day at a time.
well, and that, and all honesty, I think that's to your mentality towards business and success, right? So you're constantly elevated. I feel like, you know, when I take a look at my own, personal self, they're always trying to see, okay, where can I get better? What can I do differently? It's kind of why I created this whole podcast anyway, too,
Yeah, I
is
love it.
just so I can also get a front row seat to people that are running the business too, so I can pick up some stuff for myself. Because at the end of the day, like, I don't know all the answers, right? And I also like to know that I'm not alone.
Right. And and the best part is you shouldn't know all the answers. And I mean, that's just self-actualization is
Yeah,
not knowing those and being humbled enough to say you don't know them. And
yeah,
then, all right, let's research the problem and see if we can figure it out, or at least find somebody super smart that knows what our issue is and they can figure it out, right?
right,
I mean,
right.
surround ourselves with those types of people.
We gotta find them. If you're out there, we
I
need
know.
you.
Hey, come on in.
Please,
The door's open.
please solve all my problems
Right.
today. So I do, because I do want to get real here. I do want to hear a recent challenge that you had to overcome that you think might be beneficial to our audience, like, and a challenge you had and how you overcame it. I think it's so important um,
You
to know
know,
that we're not alone.
I'll actually venture back a little bit,
Okay.
if I could, and
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
um, and I do need to correct it because we're now Sarah of Sterling Heights, by the way,
Oh,
not Sarah Whalen. We just went through the
okay.
name change,
Okay,
but
good. Sorry about that.
oh, no worries.
It's
It
still on Google
literally
that way. Shh.
just happened. Announcement. Got to tell everybody.
All right, I'm
Um,
telling him.
the reason why I go back a little bit is just because in 2021 we ended up buying Buff Whalen and
Okay.
we rebranded it as Serra Whalen.
Mhm.
So in buying that, we took over um, obviously one of the bigger Chevy stores and one of the biggest at the time. It was the biggest as well, Chevy stores in the
Mhm.
country. And then I think that a tough thing to overcome for me, and I wouldn't even say it was to overcome, but to try to be looked at in the same light was for Carrie Whalen.
Mhm.
So Carrie Whalen had done such a phenomenal job with her people, had the respect, admiration, and understanding from them. I mean,
Mhm.
they loved her, and I would tell you, my business partner or my business partners, Joe and Matt Serra.
Mhm.
I think that they have great insight, great knowledge, and one of the things that I'll say, I haven't ran across anybody that says anything bad about those two, Joe and Matt
Mhm.
Serra. So hearing somebody else very similar, especially in the world that we ended up being in, was with Carrie and the relationships that she's had over the years and how she's helped many people. My challenge was really how can I try to even come close to getting on that same level,
Mhm.
and being a new leader within their organization. The only thing that changed was me,
Mhm.
right? So some of the thought processes, some of the things that I could see from a 10,000-foot view on how we could get better came first with just getting my foot in the door with the relationships that I had with our people and how they could understand not only that I was looking out for their best interest, but I also had the long-term goal of what their growth could be. And
Mhm.
I think the term that I'm going to say is empathy,
Right.
understanding that you're empathetic and realizing that it's the people first has allowed me to, I won't say get to where Carrie's at, because I don't know that I ever will be able to. And I
Mhm.
don't want to consider myself, I don't want to take away her shine because I
Mhm.
don't think that's the right thing to do.
Right.
I think we both shine in different areas and we've done it very well. But to be able to accomplish that in short order and then push and drive home what our overall responsibilities are, especially during the change and within the COVID environment and some of the things that we went through with the manufacturer. I mean, there were some hardships that people were uncertain about what they were going to do with the car business and how we were going to be able to maintain. And we've seen growth every single year. So I think that the buy-in from those folks, which I'm blessed to have, and the predecessor being Carrie and what she did for
Mhm.
this organization, and of course she had it from her father,
Mhm.
and what they've done over the years in the Detroit market has been astronomical. And we're just lucky enough to be able to live on and do the same things, and hopefully continuously not only grow the personnel that we have, but the people that we have. And my
Mhm.
challenge was just getting on that similar level, and we've done it well, right? And that's
Right.
been nice to see. And really, it's been nice to grow the relationships. And I think that that's my long-term understanding is that, I'll never be able to give everybody the best answer, but I'll give them my best answer.
Yeah.
how they respond to it, and I'll be transparent and open about it every time, whether it's good or bad news. But how they respond to it's up to them, and I need to make sure that I foster a relationship that is good within that thought process while having empathy, but also driving towards our goals every day.
And I think that is so important because there's a lot of dealerships that are, um, for sale. There's people buying and selling their stores right now. Even, legacy people, they're and I think that is so huge because you're not the only one that is coming into a brand new store with, you know, a great reputation. So I really appreciate that because I think it means so much. And I love what you said about Carrie. You know, she did an awesome job and the Serras, I love the Serras. Like, we move for a lot of their dealerships and,
I'm telling you, I haven't
amazing.
heard anybody ever say a bad thing about Joe Serra or Matt Serra, and it boggles my mind. I'm like, I need to find one person,
Right.
just one, and I can't do it. And I mean, I'm blessed to be able to say that. Don't get me wrong, but it's also one of those things that it's like it's so unbelievable, especially with the the amount of stores that we have, the people in our everybody in the car business. I mean, it's a tight knit group. As big as it is, it's also very small, and people know each other. And to be able to say that about certain people is few and far between. So to be around those folks and to be present in their life, I mean, it means a lot, and it's great to look up to. It's great to have that type of mentorship, and it's great to just see as living examples what good people can really do.
And I think that, they do so much for our community too. I mean, all their charity work, we've participated in it before. We love it. And I think it just when you can give back to the community that you work in, and how many stores are they up to right now? I mean, they're up to some crazy amount.
I want to say we're at 78
Yeah.
franchises or 78 rooftops. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we're number 3 privately held, so we do very well. And the overall mentality, being decentralized, having partners like myself in every
Mhm.
location, to be able to help work through those things, and given that autonomy, which I think that's kind of one of those things that we've modeled here, is being able to push down and delegate that responsibility, give people the autonomy to be successful. And I think that builds trust and fosters a good working environment.
And I think too that when it's kind of partially your baby, that you are going to baby it, like, right? Like, this is like my
100%.
baby, and I want to make sure that it's successful. So that's fantastic. Okay. Final words of advice for people out there that are, for leadership, running a dealership, going crazy, trying to figure it out. Let's figure out some final advice for those folks.
Oh, good Lord. I would probably say never stop. And that can mean many different things for many different people. But I think that life is always going to throw us challenges. Our availability to take a step back, realize what those challenges are, the human mind and understanding of it is an amazing thing. And if we really put our mind towards it, we can accomplish whatever we truly believe. And that's coming from a kid that grew up in Toledo, from a very poor household to the place that I am today. And I've had many people that have blessed me to be in my life, and understanding that, and never putting, never always recognizing that benefit, and realizing that the people over profit, over process, people are really what makes it. And if you put your best effort in every single day, sooner or later that'll pay dividends.
Thank you so much, Ben. You are my savior. We're lucky on our 222 today. Thank you
There we
so
go.
much
What a number, right?
for joining us. Honestly, this was amazing. I hope everybody that was watching today really enjoyed this show. If you really loved it, please share it across social media. Tell your friends. And Ben, thank you again for just being an amazing person. I've learned so
Likewise.
much for you today. And here's to many more. And thanks again for coming on, and thanks everybody for watching. We appreciate you.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you, of course. And
All
Rachel,
right.
we'll have to do this again, huh?
I know it's so fun, right? I told
Yeah,
you.
absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you very